Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Mariel Talks Pop. My name is Mariel Basori, and I'm here joined by one of the biggest pop princesses of the Y2K era, the one and only Kaci Battaglia. Welcome, Casey.
Thank you. That is such a sweet introduction.
No, you are. I mean, it's been over 20 years since this began, your journey began. So, I mean, wow, how time flies, right?
So true. It goes by so fast.
Can you believe it's been like 25 years now?
No, I mean, even doing an interview still feels like I just did it yesterday, you know? Everything seems really natural and like it was 5 minutes ago. But then again, I have a 7-year-old and, how did that happen?
I
So,
know, I know. Totally. But well, let's just go back in time because you've been singing since you were very little, right?
very little. So pretty much came out of the womb singing. And like literally, I cried to a beat. My parents joked about it. And then I really wanted to sing, but you had to wait to take lessons until you were about 6 years old. So
Hmm.
I took lessons and ended up being in different singing groups and things like that. And then ended up, it's funny, when you're a child, you don't understand limitations. You don't, think about it. When you're a baby looks to you and is like, if there's a pink elephant in the kitchen, they're not going to know the difference. They don't know what's normal and what's not normal. They're looking at your reactions. And so
Yes.
thankfully I had parents who, when I looked to their reactions, they were always very affirming for going after what I wanted to do,
Hmm.
and didn't say like, you're crazy, you're nuts, what are you thinking? It was just like, you reach for the stars, you go for it and go all the way. And so when I was 10 years old, I found out, at that point I was doing auditions in Orlando because I was a little scattered, but actually it started when I was 8. So I went to
Hmm.
a summer camp at Ruth Eckerd Hall, and I showed up, and I must have done something right as a little kid, maybe just being dramatic. I don't know, but they went over to my parents, and they were like, "It would be a travesty, a bunch of drama,
Uh-huh.
literally drama queens walking over to my parents, like, it would be a travesty if you didn't give her headshots." And my parents were like, "Oh my, really?" So I got headshots and started auditioning, and I got a job with Disney like within 2 weeks. And so lo and behold, I'm at 3 o'clock in the morning skipping with Minnie Mouse. So it was a pretty cool introduction. And yeah, I mean, started super young and became professional really fast. And then when I was about 10, I learned from my singing coach the difference between being a normal singer and being a professional. So I found out that
Hmm.
they were called recording artists and that they got signed to a record deal. And in my heart and in my prayers, I was like, I'm going to be a recording artist by the time I'm 11. And I told my parents, and they didn't tell me no.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and that was really cool. And so I went after it, and I ended up being signed. I think it was the final contract. I ended up being signed after I turned 12, but I had multiple options when I was 11. So it was really cool to see that kind of what you can do. You know.
Yeah, but you first recorded an album that I don't know if it's available or not, that previously to your Paradise album. You
Yes.
recorded an album, A Thousand Stars,
A
something like that.
thousand stars. That's right. Um,
And what about that album? Was it produced by your mom?
yeah. So we were just having a good time with it. I had made a Christmas album for the family, and
Mm-hmm.
they loved it, and other people enjoyed it. And of course, I knew nothing about being a recording artist. So I literally went in and sang these tracks one time. So what you hear on the album are actually live performances.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like I didn't, and you'd think the engineer would say something about it because it was booked by the hour, but he didn't. He was like, and cut, we're good. What's the next song? So yeah, the whole album, we had some, I think it was by, what was his name? Bobby something or another. There was kind of a local celebrity singer-songwriter who was making music. And so there were genuinely some originals on there. So I actually had original songs when I think I was 8 or 9 years old. And some of the local kids ended up getting it and enjoying it. And I got such a kick out of doing a performance, again, having no idea what I'm doing, or my parents having no idea what they're doing. So I did
Wow.
a 2-hour performance and I did like 20 songs, which is insane. for a little kid. Now you know
Yeah.
better. You're like, no, we don't do that many songs, or maybe it was for that long. And then there was this gigantic, like 3-hour line for autographs, and I just got a big kick out of that. And afterwards, I said, "Hey, that was fun. Can we go get some twisty treats?" You know.
Hmm.
So it was always about the adventure and the joy of it.
Yeah. And have you ever thought about sharing those songs from A Thousand Stars? Because I think it's impossible to find. Have you ever thought of sharing them?
I don't know that I have one. I would have to ask my mom or some of my
Oh,
family members, but I think that that's a very good idea to just for memory's sake, to digitize it, to have the,
yeah.
you know,
It would be awesome.
that would be.
And I bet all of our followers here watching will agree that we need to hear those songs.
Ah, that's so sweet. Well, I'll work on that. Where would I
Uh,
upload it? I guess, do I just put it on YouTube or?
it could be on YouTube or Spotify. You have your Spotify account, right?
Well, I don't really. I signed a pretty bad contract, and I ended up losing all my publishing rights and all my rights, so I don't pay too much attention to it. Um,
Oh,
but I would. But I probably should. Probably should.
yeah. Yeah, you should. I mean, we would love that for sure. I speak in the name of all the fans here, that we would love to hear your first recordings. And then when it came to your Paradise album, I happen to have here the Japanese version, which is great. I mean, I love this album. I grew
Thank
up
you.
listening to it. I mean, it's full of memories for me. I cherish it with all of my heart because I was 15 when I listened to it. So for me, it was like all songs meant
Which one did you
something.
like?
My favorite from here is Kiss Me Crazy.
I liked Kiss Me Crazy then too, and
Yeah,
Begging Me.
Begging Me is great. Yes, I mean, all these songs mean a lot to me. When I was 15, I had my quinceañera party here in Mexico, and I wanted to do the dance for I Think I Love You.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but unfortunately, the salon wasn't that big for me to do a big performance, so I wasn't allowed to do it.
you're
But
kidding me.
yeah,
I would
but
love to see that.
I wanted to do I Think I Love You with my girlfriends. So
Oh, that's
it
so
would
sweet.
have been great.
It's neat to, all these people that I don't know, that we share that time in history, growing up together.
Yeah.
And it really is a point of connection. I didn't understand that people were really connecting with it and that it was influencing some people's
Yeah.
childhood, you
Yeah.
know? And
I mean, can you believe you were huge in the UK? I mean, were you expecting that when you released your album that your songs went into top 10, top 11? I mean, how did that feel for you?
oh, that was probably the height of the whole journey, to be honest. There's nothing like that first experience where it was almost out of nowhere. I remember, it's kind of strange, but the first time I went to the UK was just for promo shots, and people started asking for my signature, and I was like, why? Like they don't know who I am, but they did, and I thought that was really something. And then the next time when I came back, when I didn't know how much they had been running my material on the TV,
Hmm.
so I showed up and I went shopping, and I ended up getting mobbed in the shopping, place in the middle of London. And I'm half dressed with my bra on, and people are beating on the door. And my mom's like, "We need help." So, so yeah, we escaped out the back. It was a nice introduction.
Wow. And you
Yeah.
were only what, 14 when you recorded the songs
I was
for
11 when I
Paradise?
recorded the song. I was 13, I think, when it came out finally.
Uh-huh. Oh, so you were so young.
Very.
Very, very young, and to have fame at that level, I mean, wow, must have been great. Now tell me about the experience in the studio. How was it to record this album? You work with great producers and you work with great songwriters. Did you get to choose any of the songs, or they were just given to you, or how's the process?
Well, you have to remember, I was in the industry for like 20 years.
Hmm.
So the way it started isn't the way that it ended.
Hmm.
Um, so it started out as a kid where they would basically present me with songs and I would choose between them. And then we would look at different producers and the cost of everything and kind of go from there. And when I would go into the recording studio, interestingly enough, we still had like it wasn't digitized in the recording
Mhm.
studio I was originally at. So part of that album was recorded on, what's the word I'm looking for? It was on like on these big record recorders, like the old fashioned ones. I'm spacing on
Mhm.
the name right now, but it was the OG way to record music.
Okay.
And so it was neat. It was honestly really cool to be a musician at that time because so much was going on in the world. Remember, there was like Napster coming out, the
Yeah.
dynamics of music technology were changing, everything. There were a lot of transitions going on. And so I'm like the generation where you got to go from no computers and the old fashioned way of doing things to this incredibly high speed tech age.
Mhm.
And I think if anything, being in the industry at that time during a tumultuous period of like kind of rapid development trained me to be able to adapt.
Mhm.
Um, so that was kind of a neat feature of that. But recording was really fun. It was
Fun.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, great. So, and you always like the songs when you heard them, when you first read the lyrics, you were like, "Oh yeah, I like the songs." You thought they were appropriate for you at that age.
I had no idea what was appropriate for me at the age. You know what I mean? Like I was singing since I was a little girl, singing things like Les Mis is On My Own and Celine Dion songs and things like I would compete for fun and would do like local pageants and stuff. And I won
Mhm.
so many of them doing Unchained Melody. And you're talking about love and you're talking about all kinds of things that are just well beyond your years. So I think I had just grown accustomed to singing about things that I couldn't necessarily relate to. And I'm
Mhm.
kind of shocked that they let me. Like, I'm 13 years old singing about kissing me crazy and don't come begging me. You know what I mean? Like, had I even kissed anybody at that point? No.
Yeah.
So it's kind of comical today. And what else is interesting is today, kids, well, I don't want to say kids, I mean, music can be pretty aggressive. And
Mhm.
for us, it was like, oh, she said, kiss me crazy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it was a
Yeah.
little bit more innocent, I think, then.
Yeah, but they sounded innocent. They sounded fun for kids our age. I'm 2 years younger than you are, so I totally relate to that time because we would sing innocent stuff, positive
Right.
stuff, right?
Right.
Not
Mhm.
nowadays. Music it's completely changed. I mean, kids that age at 13 are now listening to a lot of sex-related music, and
I can't with it.
I
Mm-mm.
know what I
So
mean. And
good too. Like the beats are so good. You want to listen to it, and then you listen to the lyrics, and you're like, I don't want this in my brain every day.
yeah,
You know?
exactly. And we are moms. I have a 4-year-old too, so I,
You get it.
I'm not so concerned right now because she listens to what I listen to. But when she grows up, I have to be really careful to what she listens to, and you too, because we don't want them to be around this type of aggressive lyrics, sex related stuff. And I think your music is really positive. Was
Oh,
really positive at the time for kids our age.
thank you. That's so sweet. Yeah, yeah. It was a little bit more of an innocent time, and I agree. So what I do a lot of times, well, I'm a Christian, so
Hmm.
um, and I've grown pretty strong in my faith over the years. And so my child and I listen to a lot of Christian music, and there's actually some really good stuff. Like you can get down with some Christian. I mean, they've got everything from
Yeah.
dance music to rap music to, you name it, they've got it. So, because it's really positive. We're going to have a great day. You're
Hmm.
loved.
Yeah.
Sunshine on your face, like it's going to be an amazing time.
Yeah.
And
That's what we need to hear. That's what the world needs to hear.
it does, right?
Right. Yeah. So, well, thank you for making positive music back then.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And now tell us about the music videos. Your music videos were so fun. Which one
Oh,
is your favorite?
my favorite ones were the first two, actually, Paradise and Two or More. And
Mm-hmm.
I said I think I Love You, which was a real fun one too.
Yeah.
Um, but the first one, Because again, I was a kid in a candy shop. I was just a kid who loved to sing and write and perform, and here I am. I've got stylists and lights and the whole nine, and
Yeah.
it was just, it was like Disney World on crack for me, So it was just it was a wonderful experience. And coming from a small town girl, it was kind of like eye opening in Los Angeles, you know.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then with Two or More, it was an adventure because I got to bring my family and friends into the whole equation because it was in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really neat because we ended up at that time, after the success of Paradise, we flew in, I mean, a gigantic amount of press from Europe. And we had them staying at the hotels. And they put me up in this, I guess because they wanted it to seem, just in case I was
Mm-hmm.
doing interviews in the room or something like that. Best hotel I've ever stayed at. Okay. It was like 2 stories. Everything was dripping with gold. And, and like, I felt like I was in the suite of Trump Towers or something, right on the water. And I got to bring my two best friends with me, and they
Uh-huh.
were actually in the video at the time.
Oh,
And my family got to show up. So that was just a once in a lifetime opportunity that I
yeah.
was grateful to have.
Oh, beautiful. And I think I Love You video is also so fun.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so colorful. I mean, you look so pretty in that video.
Oh, thank you. I like the fashion in that one. That was fun with like the hats and everything.
Yeah. Were you in charge of the fashion back then, or was it like the label told you what to wear, what to use, how to use your hair?
So, no, they didn't really tell me what to do in that regard. I had a stylist. And so you
Mm,
have makeup and hair and stylist. I don't think that I'm particularly um, refined in terms of style without some assistance. So
mhm.
fortunately, I had some. And so yeah, it was really nice to have that. You're bringing up a lot of the good points. There were a lot of hard points. If people are thinking about bringing their kids into it, we'd want to
Mhm.
tell the dark underbelly of what's going on so that you can at least be aware.
Yeah.
But these are kind of the highlights and the good things.
Yeah.
But I remember at one point during, we'll say, the golden age of, the Paradise to a More, I Think I Love You time, I was so
Mhm.
used to being in pop star mode that I went over to my mom at one point and I was like, "Here, Mom, these are my boots. Would you just go ahead and put them on for me?" And she was like, "No, you go put on your own boots, okay? I'm your mom." Like,
Yeah. I mean,
but don't
fame
get it
fame
twisted.
gets to your head, right?
Right. Well, and I don't even think I meant for it to be arrogant. It was just I had just grown accustomed to it. You wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, somebody does your makeup, somebody dresses you,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
you're ready to
Oh.
go. So I was like, okay, you're gonna put on my boots, and she was like, no. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
I mean, and you were so young, it's comprehensible. It's like
Thank
you
you.
don't even know like where
Yeah.
you are, right?
And it was such a dichotomy because one second you've got that going on, and the next second you're at home with your friends touring the mall, just being a
Yeah.
normal kid. It definitely does not teach you how to be normal, though. When you're
Yes.
there is a training for being a pop star that makes it really hard to acclimate to normal society. It's taking me, like it's actively still taking me
Mhm.
years to acclimate to, I think, a normal, healthy life.
Mhm. And who were you touring with back then that you remember?
Well, we toured with all the fun, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, we toured with everybody. I mean, the obvious ones were like, Backstreet Boys and Sync and All or Nothing. O Town.
Oh,
That was a fun one.
town.
O Town.
Yeah. Oh,
And
and how were they with you? Did you get to interact with them?
yeah, we hung out. And
And they were nice?
they were nice and they were cute, but I was way
Yeah.
too young, So, oh my goodness.
in,
Um,
how about the relationship with other pop female singers?
I really didn't have any. Um, Let me think. Maybe one or two, but I mean, talking about close friends, because I was a solo act, a lot of it was the team that you build around you, and you become
Mm-hmm.
like you're in a bubble and you
Mm-hmm.
respect everybody else. but it's harder to get a little bit closer to everybody who's not in your bubble.
Mm-hmm.
So your dancers are in your bubble, your tour manager, if you're a kid, your
Mm-hmm.
parent,
Mm-hmm.
the crew. And I remember when we did a European tour, that was really fun. It was called the Smash Hits Tour. I don't
Oh,
know if you know
wow.
about it, but it was every major recording artist in Europe at the time, from like Westlife and A1, Samantha Mumba, something, what is this, S Club 7?
Oh,
Um,
wow. Yeah.
it was like everybody, and
Mm-hmm.
Blue, and so we would all tour together and we would party afterwards. And I was one of the least well known, I think, in comparison to
Mm-hmm.
how big. I mean, Kylie Minogue shows up or something like that. You're like, you got some big, heavy hitters going on,
Wow.
and everybody was ridiculously friendly and nice. And then we really did get to socialize. And I was such a
Mm.
goody shoes actually at that time. So they would go out partying and they would be like, hey, do you want a drink or do you want, something else? And I was like, no, I'm good. And then I would just dance. And afterwards I'd go up. And honestly, I was obsessed with Harry Potter and the Bible. So I'm like, I'm going up to read the book of John and then, the Philosopher's Stone.
Okay. But
So,
wow, that's amazing. I mean, you grew up in this part where a lot of upcoming singers were coming out. 2001 was filled with a lot of pop singers.
mhm.
And I don't know if you ever got to interact with singers like Myra, Amanda, Tonya Mitchell, Brooke Allison. Those were like the other pop princesses from the time. Do you remember them?
I didn't get to hang out with them much.
Oh,
Like not that I recall. Um, yeah, it was interesting now that you say that, how you can be around so many people and still be kind of isolated.
a little, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, you were one of those princesses for sure.
Aw.
And then it took you a while to release music. Well, after Paradise, you released I Will Learn to Love Again, which was part of a Hilary Duff movie,
Mm.
The Perfect Man. That song, I love it too. Tell us about that one.
That's a really interesting journey, and I love Hillary. She's
Mm.
always been a sweetheart. We grew up together. We both stayed at the Oakwoods, and we would play like the game and chase each other as kids, and it was sweet,
Oh, uh-huh.
And, and that song happened by after the album was released. The first album was released. There was a really, really hard time.
Hmm.
It seemed like the record label wasn't going to back me. There was stuff at home with family issues that was going on. My grandmother had cancer and like all of these different things that were happening. And it went from like this insane high to an insane low.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very hard for anybody, let alone for a 14-year-old
Yeah.
who's going through lots of biological changes and has the pressure of becoming a woman, and my body wasn't behaving. It's like I was putting on weight. I didn't know how to make it stop, so I developed all these eating disorders and went
Yeah.
through it. But that's when I learned, one of the things that I learned was how to dig deep and find a way. I think that once you have tasted what is possible, when you're willing to focus and believe, you don't have to believe what's common, right? It's okay for you to be an outlier and for you to
Mm-hmm.
believe, that other people don't necessarily believe can be real. And you know what? If they're naysayers or they don't get it, they don't have to. Just keep it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Surround yourself with people, or now I guess like ChatGPT or something that can give you that support, so that you can continue believing, because there really is power in that. And getting
Mm-hmm.
coaching can help you. I'm a fan of getting coaching for whatever it is that you want to do, if you can afford it. Like, so life is so ridiculously expensive this day for everyone.
Yes.
But there's ways around it. Where were we at?
The I Will Learn to Love Again.
I will learn to love again. So it's really hard time, and I thought, all right, this next move again, I have to do it on my own. It's kind of like starting over from ground zero.
Mm-hmm.
Moved out to Los Angeles, started writing songs, and worked my way up the songwriting ladder in Los Angeles. And I used the leverage of being a recording artist to
Mm-hmm.
get me into big rooms. or some rooms, but then merit has to step up. So you have to be able to prove yourself and evolve as a writer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I was able to do that. And then I end up in rooms with very big producers and writers. Very grateful for that. Yeah, that was really a phenomenal experience. And it really helped me survive that time, to be honest. It was an outlet to express everything I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm driven to do something. I was able to kind of sink my teeth into something full time and then hit those goals. And when I did, I ended up with Antonina and Tim. Now, you probably don't know who Tim and Antonina are, but they are Rock Mafia and Rob
Okay.
Cavallo,
Uh-huh.
who was, I think, the CEO of Warner Brothers and producer of the year. And they do all the more modern pop princesses together,
Mm-hmm.
all of them. In fact, I'm pretty sure I hooked up their connection with like Miley Cyrus and all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, or at least helped facilitate that through, my manager became her manager and all these good things. So I believe that song "I Will Learn to Love Again" was a Diane Warren song. So we had a lot of heavy hitters in there. Diane Warren's a really successful songwriter.
Yes.
She doesn't like co-write things, right? Like you take a Diane Warren song and you say thank you very much.
Yes.
So I sang that song and then worked with Tim and Antonina to have it produced and put out.
Mm.
And it was a little bit heavier at the time. We ended up filming it in Nashville, and typically that doesn't matter, but boy, they put a lot of pressure on you in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
They did then anyway. I don't know what they're like now. They're probably much more accepting, but
Yeah, but it's a beautiful song.
it is a beautiful song. I like that song.
Yeah, it is really, really catchy and really, I don't know, like sweet, romantic. I love it. I love it.
Thanks. Me too. It's it's positive.
It's positive, yes.
Yeah.
And I remember, I don't know where did I got that. If it was a leak or somebody sent it to me, I can't remember. A song called "Text Me."
Text me and
And
you
you
see
see,
when we're active we can.
I remember that. Yeah. What about that song? Was it gonna be part of a second album?
So the way that song came about was As If and Text Me. I ended up recording in Denmark because it was kind of like the American Idol of songwriting, I guess, that they had done. And so the winner was going to have a celebrity sing their song. So I got roped in, I guess. And so I ended up flying out to Denmark and recording both of those songs.
Oh, wow.
And I really like those too. Those are fun.
I know. I vaguely remember that I got it from somewhere, but I didn't. And I love playing it. Like, text me and you'll see how interactive we can be. I mean, that was so like 2000s, like,
Very.
when we were texting all the time. I mean, it was
Right.
so fun.
Yeah.
And then it took you a while, but you came back and released "Bring It On," your second, or what, third studio album. We can call it your third studio album.
The second, wasn't it? Because it was, I mean, the first one went on and on and on. There was like the Japanese edition and the American edition. And
Oh,
the
yeah.
UK.
Well, yeah, we can call it the second. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it was officially released. It was huge in Japan. I mean, it was released physically in Japan, and the rest of the world was digitally. But I remember being in Las Vegas with my parents and at the fashion mall, and there was going to be a fashion parade, a runway, and the main song was "Body Shots."
Oh boy.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, they're playing Kaci. I was so excited.
Aww.
Yeah, that was the song they were playing. It was really catchy, to make a runway. It was like the perfect song for that. Now, tell us about this album. I'm not sure if any of if our fans here know about this album, but it's a really good dance pop album. Tell us all about this.
So after I Will Learn to Love Again and all of those different things, I ended up kind of cooling off. I went to a summer camp in like Cambridge University. It was just being kind of normal, came home. I ended up writing a song called I Can't Help Myself. It was a dance song.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was down there, I ended up meeting who would become my next manager. And I told him I really wanted to do rock, and he was like, let's look back at pop. And so and we began exploring that. And I think we wrote Body Shots and Crazy Possessive pretty quickly thereafter with the producers and songwriters he was associated with. And, you know, I went in there and they were like, all right, quantum physics, enough of that. What is the craziest thing that you would do for your 21st birthday? I'm like, I don't know. I guess Body Shot. Like, they're like, perfect, sold. So, you know, taking this kind of, I mean, I was kind of innocent actually, and put into this crazy. I can't believe I have a song called Body Shots, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then we ended up getting Ludacris on it, which was really cool, you know.
Yeah. The whole album is perfect. I have posted about it on my social accounts, and a lot of, who is this Kaci? Is this the same Kaci from I Will Learn to Love Again and Paradise? I'm like, yeah. Some people didn't know that you came back, maybe because now you decide to use your last name.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's part of why people didn't actually relate.
The two.
Yeah, but the album is so danceable, so catchy. My favorite song from that album is Captain Save a Ho. I love that song.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. All of them were truly based off of real life experiences. I was mad. God bless anybody who dates a songwriter. Okay, like, you can't date like the Shakira song that she came out with recently. I'm like, you know, you married a songwriter and then you did it wrong. Like, what did you expect was going to happen? You know, learn from Taylor Swift. So, yeah, some of them I remember. I was dating a guy, I got mad at him, wrote Tool. We ended up getting back together, and then everybody made fun of him for it, and we would just, you know, it was kind of a running joke. But I like that song too. It's got some humor to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is really fun. And Tool, also, You're Just Tool. I love that song.
Yeah. And then my favorites actually, well, I have a couple that I really enjoy, but I really like Bionic Atomic.
Oh, yes. That should have been a single.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that, well, I mean, it's just so different, you know, like, I mean, not super different, but I mean, it's a song about being a superhero. And it was just, it was really cool. And it was fun to make. So I ended up making that in Georgia, Atlanta, with the writer who wrote Disturbia and a lot of like the Chris Brown hits. And with Isaac Hayes Jr., Isaac Hayes is a big producer. His son's fantastic, like fantastically talented as well. And yeah, that was really fun to do because it was fast. There were a lot of interesting harmonies that the songwriter was good at creating, and we enjoyed, you know, writing that. I'll Be Seeing You was very intimate and personal. Like, I wrote that song, an experience I had that was really hard, and it helped me through that time. And, let's see, Remedy. I like Remedy.
Oh, Remedy, yes. Great songs.
Yeah. So, thank you. I appreciate it. There were more that didn't make it that I wish did. Honestly.
So do you happen to have like demos of those songs that didn't make it to the album?
I wish I did. There are some songs, like, I don't know if you know that I wrote like the song called Bless You, and Lucy Hale ended up singing it in this movie.
I didn't know.
Cinderella movie. Yeah, so I wrote that song with Tim and Antina, or Rock Mafia. And so there was another song called Never Give In, and it was like the rock song. It was produced by Rob Cavallo, and it was around the time that it was like Evanescence, and I don't know, it was pretty awesome. I even screamed in it, like, you know, like the rock scream.
Oh, wow.
To be able to do that well. So
but still, Crazy Possessive and Body Shots went to #1 on the dance charts.
That's right.
Yeah, great. That was amazing. And you had 2 videos, very cool videos. The Crazy Possessive, I love it. Tell us about the Crazy Possessive video, because it was like 2 of you.
That's right. So it was cute because they pulled out the double, and so we would stand next to each other, you know. And it's funny, when I was coming up here to do the interview, I'm like, maybe I should slick my hair back, and because I was in the pool, start the interview coming out. Like, that's a video.
Oh yeah, I love it. And how about working with Ludacris?
He's a very nice guy.
Yeah,
I worked with him for like a day, but again, the innocence of kind of who I am was getting in the way of it. They're like, be sexier. Like his girlfriend was coming over like, act sexier. And I'm like, I'm doing my best. She's like, going to Disney World. And I'm like, I would like to go to Disney World. So that's where we're at today.
So fun. Great memories then.
Yeah, it was crazy. I had to fly from New York City for the first part of that video, all the way to Miami for the second part of the video, and then fly to another state to do a show and an interview within 24 hours, I think. I mean, during that time, I did not sleep. I mean, not just that time, for several years. Like, was working my butt off several states a day. I'd be up at 1 o'clock in the morning singing, up the next morning to do a morning show for news.
Wow.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
And then why didn't you release any more music? What happened, Kaci?
Well, the darn contract, really, to be honest. Pop music, it tends to be a kid's game, and they give you a hard time if you're over the age of 24.
Mm-hmm.
So when I reached 24 after Body Shots, Crazy Possessive was the one that should have made the top 40 in America. Mm-hmm. And there was an interesting situation that occurred where another artist ended up taking my slot due to back deals and ended up being number one. And then mine went from 43 to dropping off because you have to get specific radio stations. So I was frustrated with the politics behind it all, and my rights were being kind of siphoned away from me, and I was singing material I didn't necessarily want to, and I wanted the freedom to perhaps get another record deal, to be able to get my rights back, to be able to be individual, and it just wasn't happening. So I thought, well, after Body Shots, if this doesn't work, I'm done. Like, I have nothing else to give. I'm angry, and I'm getting older, and I want to be able to earn money and have a career and have a family. So I remember I called up one day. They were like, we're going to take you to China, and it's going to be, we're going to make a bunch of money every day. And I said, nope. And they were like, what do you mean? And I was like, no, thank you. I'm done. And they're like, hope you feel better soon. And I said, it's not the flu. I'm done. And, but thank you so much. And that was it. That was really how it all, it was just came to a done. And then, finally got dropped like a year later for my birthday, which I was really excited about because that meant that I could start over again. But at this point I was like 26, getting married, working in, electrical engineering, just doing other stuff. So it really hasn't been until recently where I've started to now dabble with songwriting and singing again. Not saying that I would necessarily look at it as a full-time career or anything, but when you're built this way, it's a passion. And I think it's important to embrace your creativity and your authenticity when it comes to things like this, And I'm on my rights back for anything I make now. So
yeah, and what about now? Are you interested in doing some new songs, recording your old songs, maybe? Now that
I'm sure how busy it can be as so like outside of mothering, and working on the whole nine, I would love to, I would enjoy getting back into it these days. I would probably do more Christian music, honestly, like fun Christian music. We need that positivity in our lives.
Yes.
So we would go there. And that's probably where I would go, or something along those veins. Still pop.
We would love to see you coming back, maybe re-recording those songs that we all love now that your voice has matured. You have matured too. It would be great to listen to them now in a different tone. It would be awesome.
Yeah. Or to remix some of the old ones.
Yeah.
Or to record them or something. Yeah, that would be fun. We just need to carve out some time and make it happen.
But we are going to be there. Your fans are going to be there.
That's so sweet. I love you all, and it just means the world to me that I was able to connect with you, and that hopefully it brought you some joy and some peace and got you through got you through something, and got you out
Yeah.
on the other side to have a better tomorrow, and that you'll
Ye-
always remember it with.
No, I couldn't be happier to have you on my show. I mean, I've been, we've been talking about this for years. Like, oh yeah, maybe next month, maybe that, and didn't happen, and now it happens.
It happened. It happened, and we can do it again if you want. We'll have a follow-up if you have any more questions or something. But
Oh,
yeah.
thank you. We have here some comments from the fans. We have Francesca from Arkansas. She says, Kaci is my favorite pop princess. I remember when I first bought Casey's first album when I was a kid. I've been a fan of Kaci since I was 12, and I still listen to both of her albums all the time.
Aww. That's
I,
so
I got I got so excited when I saw her name in the credits for I Will Learn to Love Again when I saw the Perfect Man movie at the movie theater. I was more excited for her new song than the movie.
Thank you. That is so
uh,
sweet.
Aidan, he says she is an icon. Butterflies Don't Lie is such an underrated ballad. Yes, I agree.
I
Right?
like life. That's a good one. Yeah.
Were there any plans to shoot a video for I Can Help Myself?
No, there isn't, but I guess we could. Anything's possible these days.
Yeah, it would be great. Uh, Juan from Brazil says, Hi, Casey. I love from Brazil. I love the Bring It On album. Yeah, I know, right? Isn't it great? Um, Another one from Brazil. Well, Bossa Nova. Uh, who else here also thought Casey and Jennifer Love Hewitt were sisters? Oh, I never, never thought of that.
People used to tell me that. So it was around the Bring It On era when people thought I looked like Jennifer Love Hewitt, and earlier they would think that I looked like more like J Lo vibes or something like that. So yeah.
I never thought of that. uh, Ellison or from Belize, he says your music videos gave life to Disney Channel,
Aw.
right?
Yeah.
I notice people always confuse you with Casey Brown.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know
We
why.
joke about that. I sat next to them one time and it was, Aaron Carter and Casey Brown. And he's like, my girlfriend always, everybody comes up and says, we love your song Paradise. She's like, I didn't sing it.
Yeah, interesting. That I used to search for Casey, and both of you would appear on.
Well, hence why we started adding a last name, more Casey's out
Yes,
there.
more cases. Yes, and we have Levi who says, "Hi, Casey. My name is Levi. I love your music."
Hi, Levi. Thanks for coming on and saying hello.
You have a lot of fans, Casey. It's still reaching out to you, and we hope to see more from you soon. And I've been meaning to ask you: have you shown your daughter your videos from back then?
I did. It's so cool to be able to show your kid that, like, look, that's your mommy. Mommy did that. And then I was playing them, one after another, and she was singing along. And then Britney Spears came on, and she's like, "Mommy, I love this one that you did too." And I was like, "I didn't do that one. That's not me." She kind of couldn't tell the difference. It's cute.
Oh, but she likes your music then.
She does. And you know what? She's gorgeous. She loves to sing. She writes her own songs, and she's only 7. So God help us all.
Oh my God, maybe a new Casey is coming on.
Yeah, like 2.0.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. And now the questions I always ask to my guests are, who is your favorite female singer?
Celine Dion. And Judy
Okay.
Garland.
And your favorite male singer?
Ooh. I mean, singer, as in like vocal abilities, probably like Josh Groban and Andrea Bocelli or like Pavarotti. But if you're talking about like who I listen to type singer, like what kind of singer are we talking?
Like maybe the one you look up to for years.
I was really, really into a band called Incubus throughout my adolescence.
Okay.
They were the ones that kind of kept me positive, with songs like The Warmth and and Drive and things like that. So probably
Mm,
Brandon Boyd for back in the day. And today I listen to a lot of Brandon Lake. Must have a thing for
mhm,
Brandon when it comes to singing. Brandon Lake
mhm.
is awesome. You should check him out. And yeah, that would probably be my favorite now.
Okay. And do you have a favorite girl band?
Mm. Favorite girl band. Which one is the one that sings "That's My Girl"?
Fifth Harmony.
Fifth Harmony. Yeah.
Okay. Very new to. I thought you were gonna say more like from the early 2000s, like
Like what?
probably I don't know, Destiny's Child
Oh
or
yeah, back in the day, Destiny's Child was obsessed. 100%.
TLC. Yeah.
Right. We don't want
Okay.
any scrubs, that's for sure.
And who is or was your favorite boy band?
I mean, I know it's always a toss up. I love me some Backstreet Boys, but at the end, I think I was an NSYNC girl.
Okay. Good. I'm
Good,
down. I'm
good.
down
She
with you.
says.
I'm down with you. Definitely. Okay. And
You know.
dirty pop. Yes. And well, this final question. A lot of people always find it hard to say their answers, but let's see if it's hard for you too or not.
Okay.
You are gonna be alone in an island, and you can only carry 5 albums with you. Which albums would you take? I know it's hard.
Oh, golly, 5 albums that I can take. I would take a praise and worship compilation because I want to be able to listen to that. I would take, I would have to do compilations. It would be all like compilations. So I
Okay.
would take some sort of like, I would get each genre and then I would pick a compilation for each genre. That way I could mix it up, like greatest hits of a specific one.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
that way, I'm sorry, I'm not totally answering it because I just said everything. But, you know, it is kind of strategic. If you get the compilations, sometimes the compilations even come with 2 discs. So you just got
Mm-hmm.
to play it smart.
That was clever from you, Casey.
Right?
Yeah, that was clever. Perfect. I love your answer because a lot of my guests are like, "No, why are you doing this to me? This is so hard." And you were quick, and you were like, "Yeah, these are the ones."
Boom.
Great.
Compilations, because then you get the whole set. Remember like
Yeah.
those Now compilations where they used to give you everything for the
Oh
year?
yeah, I love those.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, Casey, I cannot thank you enough for being part of my show. We've been talking for this for years, and now it finally happened.
It
So,
happened.
thank you so much. I can't wait to talk to you again soon.
It was such a blessing. Thank you all for being here, for your time. Hope you had a good time. And I'd love to meet you all in person and give you a big hug. But have a wonderful day. And thank you so much for your time and your patience and everything. And I definitely
No,
look forward to speaking with you again.
no, we love you, and we wish you all the best for your career. Maybe see you soon on the stage. It will be awesome.
Let's make it
And
happen.
let's keep on playing those songs that we just love, right?
Okay, if I do it, I want to see everybody there, though. We need to actually meet up and reminisce. Have a good
Yes, for sure. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we will be seeing you soon. Have a wonderful week because it's about to start a new week. So have fun and lots of love to everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so
Thank-
much.
don't leave. Don't leave.